And welcome once again down to Fortress Melbourne for what's looking like it's going to be one hell of a Monday night clash. We have the Storm hosting the Panthers, and Liam Ryan, I am excited to see what both of these teams have in for us tonight.
Yeah, absolutely, AMAC. It's an exciting clash here on our Monday night action in the SRL, and the Storm. They are certainly proving to be a hard team to beat down here, and they have a load of success down here. But I know some teams have beaten them, and I believe the Raiders beat them a few weeks ago down here and absolutely upset them. So Panthers, I'll be looking to do that here tonight, and they're coming off a win themselves last week. They really got back into form over the Cowboys last week. Although you could say that the Cowboys have struggled for form recently, but it certainly looks to be an intriguing clash tonight.
Yeah, you mentioned the Panthers. That's definitely going to be the question tonight, whether or not that was a flash in the pan last week against the Cowboys. They put up some pretty hefty numbers against the Parramatta Eels in round one as well. So the Panthers, they can put the points on when they want to. But tonight is going to be a special night because that man right there who's just kicked has passed the captain crown on to another person tonight, Liam.
Yeah, absolutely. He obviously made that change last week, and TBK was announced captain last week, and he did a brilliant job because I believe he had 180 meters or so and had the try. So he'll be looking to back that up tonight.
Also, as a result, TBK, as the new captain, has decided to come in and make no changes to the team list. And why would you, considering how they went last week, Liam?
Yeah, absolutely. He was. I think he made a few changes last week, but yeah, he certainly changed that lineup for the better, and uh, they came out victors.
As the Storm only just get across their 50-meter mark to get through their first set, plummeting it down all the way to that left-handed wing. Uh, Ponkston lets it bounce a bit, which has been a little bit tricky over the last week or so. We saw a couple of issues with wingers letting the ball bounce and not really liking how that ended up for them, Liam.
Yeah, absolutely. Wingers, they've been a bit suspect recently, and the the play of them letting the ball bounce. I think they've been really focusing on that at training this week and trying to limit that. Oh, as we see a bit of a falcon, I think, of one of the Penrith forwards as Wakabayashi playing that one up. But yeah, back on the wingers, they certainly struggled last week, and they'll be looking to bounce back.
Yeah, the Panthers, this has not been a very convincing set from them as they punt it off down, not even exiting their 40-meter mark. And here comes Tama Turbo. Now, Tama Turbo has been one hell of a fullback all the entire season, and probably one of the key reasons why the Storm are flying as high as they are, Liam.
Yeah, absolutely. Turbo, he's been electric for the Storm, and no matter what fullbacks have been dealt with in the SRL 2.0 and their struggles, Turbo's been one to step up every single week, and I can't remember a game where he struggled.
As Nolt scored last week against the Tigers to get up over the 30. Lovely dart out of dummy half there from Corcoran, who gets over the 20, and the Storm will be putting in their first attacking kick of the night, 5 minutes into this first half. Galaxy putting it high. It's running a bit deep, and Ponson takes it easy as you like. Not even really challenged there at all, Liam. So that's a bit of an easy 7 tackle set here for the Panthers.
Yeah, the Panthers, they won't be complaining about that because that was very easy for the likes of Dong Ponkston just catch that ball and take it out to the 20 meter zone. But yeah, Galaxy has just got to be a bit better with his bird. So we see Ponkston make a good break down the sideline past the 40. And yeah, as I was saying, Galaxy has just got to be a bit better, a bit more precise, put it right on that goal line and put Ponkston under pressure.
Now, we are currently starting, or at least staring down the barrel of round 9 this week. At the moment, currently, we've got number 2 versus number 11. This is where teams need to lock in, Liam, and make sure that they make that final push to make the top 8 by end of the season.
Yeah, definitely. The Storm are a bit more of a safe entity in terms of that final spots. But yeah, the Panthers, they certainly are battling with some various. Oh, that's not a good kick from. believe it was Wakabayashi, but yeah, they're certainly fighting with a few sides for the top 8, and if they can get a win here tonight, they'll certainly go a long way to making the 8.
Yep, and they currently are the only team sitting in the bottom 8 with positive points differential, so that is also well in their favour. As Corcoran shoves it back to Metcalf, who makes it just shy of the 50 for his third. Storm trying hard to get out of their half with no success at all, as Nielsen takes a perfect intercept there, and it looks like the Panthers are going to have some excellent field position here, Liam.
Yeah, absolutely. As last week, this was something they struggled with against the Tigers. They made a fair few errors. It didn't show that highly on the stat sheet, but they just kept making errors in their own end, and it kept inviting the Tigers to have chances inside their red zone. And yeah, they've really got to get rid of this Storm because the Penrith Panthers, they are class when they get it on. You don't want to invite them inside your 20.
Speaking of, K definitely up over the 20 for their fifth, and the Panthers get their first attacking kick option of the night. Wakabayashi putting it high, putting it deep. Tap back here. Mobiston picks it up though, and that was so very nearly a Panthers try. A good effort there for the Panthers. The Storm fighting out of their 10.
Yeah, that was a really good kick there, and the Panthers, I thought they were in for all money there, and yeah, Mobiston, he just caught the ball a bit flat-footed and was unlucky not to be able to put that one down. And but yeah, the Panthers, they provide a bit of pressure and proven to the Storm they cannot make these errors like they did last week.
As we enter the end of our first 10 minutes of the first half, it is still 0-0 here down in Fortress Melbourne. And both teams are finding it very tricky to get up the other end of the field, both relying on the other team to make a bit of an error here, Liam.
Yeah, definitely. I think the Storm more so have been able to make meters a bit easier, but yeah, the Panthers, I think they're very reliant on the Storm making an error or two to get down inside the red zone. But yeah, yeah, these forwards, I think they're a bit struggling to get some go forward and getting those crash plays to be able to run over the fellow forwards on the other team.
Speaking of, there's Mobison up over the 40 for his third. They come wide. Wakabayashi, a lovely pass to Preston Beats. Prop first, then a prop again. Getting up, just playing it on the 50 line to be exact. Murray back on the middle. Now, the Panthers, if they want to do anything tonight in terms of getting the dub, they're going to have to rely on that man because he's had a couple of quiet weeks, hasn't he, Liam?
Yeah, Riley Murray was certainly quiet in their victory last week. Or as we say, did Rory Jones kick that out? Looked like he
Yeah.
did. Yeah, he did. It's a goal line dropout. And yeah, we spoke about wingers earlier and their struggles last week. And it doesn't look like Rory Jones fixed it with that bouncing ball.
No, it's Preston Beats already 35 metres out as the Panthers enter some excellent position here. Goat up with the other goat, Riley Murray. Push back though, 35 metres out for his second. Going back across. Goat again. Second hit up. He doesn't offload it this time. He just keeps it. Makes 10 metres for his team. 25 metres out for their third. They keep going blind. Lovely ball out to TBK. Captain pushing hard up over the 20. Some good field position so far, and they've got 2 left in the set to work with. A little bit of a miscommunication there from dummy half as Mobiston is pushed back consequently to the 50, but to the 20, I should say. But that should still give them time for an attacking kick here as Kay shoves it back to Wakabayashi. And Murray is in with a hell of a swan dive between 2 defenders at the back there. And the Panthers score first tonight here.
Yeah, this is just lovely stuff from Chris Wakabayashi. We saw this, it's kind of reminiscent of what we saw last week with his piercing kick against the Cowboys. And yeah, he just puts it in for Riley Murray and his fullback. He just swan dives in there, and it's brilliant stuff from the number 1 because the Panthers, they're underdogs in this one. And yeah, they'll certainly be happy about their chances now.
And, well, it looks like the weight of captainship off his shoulders has reawakened Riley Murray here, and he is absolutely flaming out there. Now, the Storm, they're currently one of 2 teams sitting on 12 competition points, sharing it there with the Knights. There'll be a couple of very anxious teams below them, hoping that the Penrith Panthers can get this win over the Storm tonight, Liam.
Yeah, definitely. You'd have to say the likes of the Knights, as you mentioned, and some of those other teams will certainly be hoping for an upset because it will do them a world of favors here if the Storm can lose this one. And I believe my team, the Broncos, is on 10 points after our victory last week. And yeah, we'll certainly be happy if the Storm can lose here.
Yeah, the Broncos, they found themselves in the top 8 after their win, I do believe. So that's some excellent turn of favour considering there were a couple of very close games that you guys had at the beginning of the season, Liam.
Yeah, definitely. And we see a bit of an error there from the Panthers, and it invites the Storm right onto the attack. And this is absolutely not what you want to see for the Panthers. As we were talking, oh, is he going to be in there, Malakasuli?
Well, we're sending
No.
it up. We're sending it up. He's sending it up as a no try, however. Onto his back. That was very close. We started yapping Liam, and the Storm decided to do something while we were doing it.
Yeah, that's what happened. The classic yap turned into something eventful.
As the Storm, they've still got 3 left in the set, and Galaxy just takes up a settler to play it 4 meters short of the line. Bit of a slow play the ball there as Captain White passes on to Lockyer. And Lockyer pushes, and I think he's over. Lockyer, the number 10, has scored. And the Storm look like they might just be back in it here now, Liam.
Yeah, definitely. The Storm, this is exactly what they can do. Lachlan Lockyer just barges his way in and drags that Penrith defender. I believe it was TBK with him into the try line. And yeah, it's brilliant effort from the prop there. As I was hoping that was still last round because that that SRL bet 3 didn't get up this week. And yeah, Lachlan Lockyer, it's a brilliant job from him. As Tama Turbo, he converts to make it 6 points all here in Melbourne. And yeah, the Storm are definitely back in it.
Now, I was a little remiss in not talking about the fact that the Storm, they only made one change to their team list tonight, and that was to take Lockyer off the bench and slide him into number 10. And well, it looks like that's already paying dividends for them, Liam.
Yeah, it definitely is. Lockyer is certainly been good so far, and obviously scored that try. And yeah, just what an effort from him. And the Storm, they'll certainly be happy they made that change.
As Galaxy, first tackle up over the 20. Less than 2 minutes until we get prop interchanges, and Lockyer will definitely be earning one hell of a rest when he subs off. Turbo playing the ball. Corcoran takes a little dart out of dummy half and makes about 10 meters. The markers went to sleep there for a little bit as Turbo tries the same thing, but they were a bit more wise to the young man. Place it there on the other side of the 50. Oh, here we go again with Corcoran trying to make rain happen once more. Unfortunately, they waste a little bit of meterage there, but I don't think the Storm are going to mind too much as long as they follow this up with a good defensive kick chase. And they do. They lock Tua down, and the Penrith are fighting out of their red zone.
Yeah, that's just brilliant stuff from the Storm. They got through the set successfully, and they'll hope for an error here from the Panthers, try and force an error out of them like they did off that kickoff as K sends it out, as we see almost an error as I say it. Maybe I should stop speaking here because commentator's curse is certainly deadly.
As the 2 blokes off the bench find their way up on the field, Penrith, they get their first props interchange. Nielsen back on the inside to Murray, and Murray, he just can't get through the Storm. They copped one Murray swan dive. They do not want to cop another one as the Panthers, they're kicking from the 30-meter line, Nielsen is, and here comes Tama. He gets through one, he gets around another. He can't get around the third. The Storm, however, they are working with some excellent field position here, Liam.
Yeah, definitely. They started their set roughly on halfway, and yeah, you'd like to say it. They'll work their way into that red. Oh, that's a brilliant inside ball to White. So he gets it back to his bench prop Terry. Maybe shouldn't have thrown that, but he'll be happy it wasn't an error there as Corcoran takes a dart. And yeah, they'll certainly be looking to get inside the red zone to close this set.
Speaking of, Galaxy darts out of dummy half. He can't quite get to that red zone. He's also taking himself out of kicking options here, but this is Metcalf. Lovely crossfield dink over here to Tua, who gets around one and just can't get around that next line of defense. So they might have been a little reticent and let some points in early, but the Storm are now turning up in defense here. And Phoenix Murphy, 15 meters out for their second tackle. It looks like Fortress Storm is turning up once more, Liam.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they changed, but Jack White, he's certainly turned up the tempo, got his team to really turn it up in defence, and they've really put on the pressure inside these last couple of sets. And it's the fourth tackle, and they're only out the 25, and they're probably out of 20-40 range. So they go down the sideline as, yeah, they'll be on the 30 to kick on the last.
Yep. Well out of 20-40 range as Nepo Goat decides to take a punt down the middle to Tama. Good boot on him, and Tama sees a hole and almost gets through it. The Storm, they are finishing or starting their set, I should say, just shy of the 50. Now, a little bit of weirdness happening there, but Penrith capitalised and pushed them back. A couple of things we need to talk about when we're talking about the Storm. Now, at the moment, they are the best attacking team in the comp. They're the only team who has 200 plus points for. At the same time, they're also the best defensive team. Now, the fact that it is still 6-all out there for the Panthers and the Storm has got to be one hell of a feather in the cap there for Captain TBK.
Yeah, definitely. Although in the last couple of weeks for the Storm, I've noticed that they're probably not at that same output as they were to start the season, defensively particularly. They weren't so great last week. They obviously only won 22 points to 12 over a struggling Tigers outfit, and yeah, but they've still had some great defensive output. I think attack is where they really shine, though. Obviously, got so many weapons all over the park, and yeah, they back themselves in that area.
As Nielsen links up with Wakabayashi, both halves trying to get out, and their momentum is just stopping just a little bit as TBK up the tram tracks there. They're finally back into the Storm half for their fifth, and they will be kicking just shy of that 50 as Wakabayashi. Lovely boot down as Eddie White. Here he comes. He can't get too much further, though. And the Panthers, they might have been struggling in attack a little bit for the last 10 minutes or so, but they put a couple of good, decent sets together, and they're slowly winning this field battle arm wrestle here, Liam.
Yeah,
That's definitely going to
a
help.
big shot, and they turn a possession. Oh. Wow, that is huge play there. And Willie K picks up the ball, and they're inside the 10. As you were saying, Mac, they're slowly winning that field position battle, and then a big shot. And yeah, Penrith, they'll certainly have a good chance to score here.
And they almost do with Wakabayashi turned onto his back. They'll send it up for a check. I'd be checking the refs and their paycheck at the moment, because the only team that is being served here with this stoppage is the Storm, who looked a little bit dead on their feet out there, Liam.
Yeah, they definitely did. And I'm not sure what the ref was checking for there, but yeah, it helped the Storm set the defensive line, and yeah, they've really taken advantage of it as they march them back to the 10, and it's fourth players. I thought that might be dangerous at the back there for Riley Murray. Nonetheless, they might try a grubber here.
Oh, and Corcoran picks us up, and he is off, and he makes about 40 meters. Oh, that is a disastrous end to the set. And the Storm, all of that pressure has now been lost, and the Panthers find themselves, well, chances are the Storm, they'll be in attacking range at the end of this set, Liam.
Yeah, definitely. 7 tackles set and already on the 40-meter line. And yeah, they're in great field positions. They did a brilliant job to just stop that Penrith attack on their line and halt that defensive pressure as Corcoran makes another great run out of dummy half. He's having a brilliant night here, isn't he, mate?
Oh, he's made about 80 meters just off this set alone, and I think Captain White there is going to be very happy with how his hooker's going as they in the red zone for their fourth. Oh, he's taken another one. He can't quite work the magic that time, and I don't blame him, considering he's basically dragged the Storm almost 90 meters up. Metcalf puts it up and high. It'll come down about 5 meters out, but Ponkston, ever reliable Ponkston. I'm actually missing the Mohawk there, Liam.
Yeah, definitely. Fongston, he's lost that mohawk, and yeah, maybe he's lost a bit of talent with that. And but he does a brilliant job just going above the Storm contest and taking that one and subsequently stopping a try there.
As Shackelford takes a hit up over the 40. He'll come down 44 meters out. They won't kick it as Coward does what he can, but can't really get much further than the advantage line. Very slow play the ball there from the bench prop as we punt it back to Wakabayashi, who hits it all the way down to Eddie White's wing once more. White hits the line, but is met by some wall of defense there. And well, with 6 minutes left in the half, you'd be a little hard pressed to think either team is in a position to score at the moment, Liam.
Yeah, definitely. Although the Storm are probably slightly winning this field position battle at the minute. As we see Tyrese Tonga take a great line and push back by that strong Penrith defence. But yeah, I think that both sides, they'd be happy going into the sheds at 6-all with the way this first half's eventuated. They've both had their chances, but probably haven't taken them the way they would like. Oh, that's a costly error for the Storm and Penrith. They'll certainly be looking to take advantage of that.
Well, again, speak of the commentator's curse, we've got 5 minutes left, and the Panthers, not the best attacking position they've had all night, but definitely the best attacking position of the last 5 minutes. As Kay works up the tram tracks over the 30 for a second. TBK, Coward taking a good bench prop run to get up over the 20. They got 3 tackles left in this set. A darts out of dummy half and completely regrets it and eats a lump of grass for his trouble. Coward takes another one to hit up over the 10, and now we're back into kicking territory. Where is Riley Murray? Here we go with Goat. Lovely little dink in, but it just doesn't have the legs on it, and Metcalf cleans up. 4 minutes left. The Storm, they're trying desperately to get out of their half here, Liam.
Yeah, definitely. It was a decent kick there from Nepo Goat, considering he's a lock, but had decent weight on it. But yeah, he just didn't draw in the defenders, and the defensive line there was set, and Metcalf just was able to pick that one up with absolute ease and the time and space to get out of the in goal and keep this alive for the Storm as they're marching up the field. It's probably not going to be any points to close the half of the Storm, but yeah, I'll be impressed that they defended their line and will hope to go in 6-all.
As Tama plays it on the 30. The Panthers, they'll have probably this set, as that's a massive boot down to Riley Murray on his 30. He can't get up over the 50, so the Panthers, unless they have a couple of good runs off down the field, that's probably going to be them for the set. Now, going into the halftime break, what do you think Captain TBK is going to be asking of his team coming out in the second half, Liam?
Yeah, look, I think TBK, he'll just look for his side to maybe polish up a few of these errors and capitalize on their opportunities. I think that's the one thing. They've just got to capitalize when these opportunities present themselves because they won't get a ton of them in the second half. I can predict that the Storm, Jack White's going to be very vocal at halftime. He wouldn't be too impressed with his first half, I'd have to say, with the errors his side's made. And yeah, you don't get that many opportunities against the Storm. So I think the Panthers will just be urging themselves to make use of these opportunities as we see the Storm take a good take for Eddie White.
As the Storm starting props come back on for their final 30 seconds of the first half. They run straight through the ruck and they almost cause an issue, but Nolt grabs the ball and he is off and he is outrunning almost every single back that's chasing him, which is kind of insane there for the number 11. Will he have enough time to play it? He won't, and that'll take us to the halftime break. Is getting close and personal here with Tama Turbo. He's aiming to stop the ball with his head from the looks of things, so we'll have to keep our eyes ready for... Well, this is definitely very interesting about how the Panthers have lined up here as Tama kicks it off to start our second half. Now that weirdness is over and done with, Liam, those halftime stats were definitely interesting reading.
Yeah, definitely. They certainly had some intrigue to them, and I'll run us through them. So the possession was fairly even. The Storm had 46 compared to 54 for the Panthers. The completions are also pretty similar, 10 to 13 out of 13 for the Storm, 9 out of 12 for the Panthers. Errors were the same. Each side had 3. No penalties conceded across the board. There was 19 more tackles for the Storm in that first half, which is something I didn't expect when I went up and looked at them. And 10 more missed tackles for the Storm. They made 20 missed tackles in that first half, which is really poor, I think, from the Storm side. And it's certainly something I think Jack White really emphasised at halftime. They've just got to stop missing tackles, and the lack of line breaks for the Storm. They only made 5 compared to Penrith's 11. But the Storm, they still had more meters. They had 521 compared to the Panthers having 482. But individually, stats wise, we saw Patrick Corcoran had the big first half, obviously, for the Storm, 108, 15 running meters for the Storm, but he's been subbed off. So they won't have that spark out dummy half in this second half. As we see a 40-20, that's brilliant stuff from the Storm, absolutely what they needed. And as I was saying, Riley Murray for the Panthers was the big one for the 118 meters.
As the Storm, they're already knocking on the door here of the Panthers. So whatever Captain White said at that halftime break, he has put the fear of God into his Storm boys, as playing it there 2 meters out for their first. Passing it off to Metcalf, a lovely ball to Sanchez, who is already over, and the Storm have already taken back the lead, or at least I should say, their first lead of the night here, Liam.
Yeah, definitely. That's brilliant stuff there from Pep Sanchez. He's running a brilliant line and crashes into the Penrith defender. And not sure what we're looking at for the on the bunker here, but yeah, it's a clean grounding from Pep. And the Storm, they'll be certainly impressed with that. Captain White, he was certainly unhappy at halftime, and he is, as you said, he infected the uh, fear of death into them. And Turbo, he's going to look to convert here and make it 12 points to 6. And the Storm certainly be happy.
And I will certainly be happy myself. I've gone Storm 1-8 tonight, so if they can just keep it at this for the moment, that will do me well. Riley Murray's turning up to kick. Now, the Storm, they only made it down there where they were off some beautiful 40-20 kicks, or at least one 40-20 kick there in that first set to start the half. I don't think the Panthers will be too worried just yet, Liam.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the way they played in that first half was really solid stuff, and I think TBK would just urge his side, and he urged his side in that huddle just then to really stay on the pedal as they were in that first half. Just continue to take it to the Storm, and their opportunities will come. Uh, they played well enough in that first half to earn the right to beat the Storm, and just continue to play that brand of footy, and they'll give themselves a chance.
As Weary Jones streams off down the tram tracks just shy of the 40 for his fourth. The Storm, a good push here. They probably won't get into good kicking range. As I say that, Galaxy gets them into good kicking range. Unfortunately, though, he takes himself out of the kick. And it looks like they're setting up for Captain White, who puts it as high and as deep as a lock possibly can for Ponkston to come down with it. And that is a great set after points for the Storm there, Liam.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really good stuff from the Storm. The attacks come to light early in this second half, and it was brilliant stuff from Galaxy going down that short side, getting a great run to get his side inside that red zone, and it was a great kick from Captain White too. I was really impressed from him, and they completed the set, and Penrith, they're having to work their way out of their own end. They're already at the 30-meter line on their fourth.
As TBK, as you say, plays it there on the 40. Fifth tackle, it's kicking time for the Panthers. They need to work off the boot, and the boot hasn't been too bad for the Panthers so far tonight. Here comes the other White. Although he can't get around that first line of defense, and the Panthers, very, very slow ruck play there. But the Storm, they get up and play it, and they work up over their 50. Considering what we saw from that first half, now I think that's going to go up to review, Liam, because surely he's just throwing that into an offside player, and the refs have done nothing about it.
Oh, I don't know about that call from the referee. That'll certainly come under scrutiny during the week. I'm sure if the captain's challenge could have been activated there, Captain White would have. But obviously, during live play, the captain's challenge can't be utilised. And as we say, a brilliant run for Willie Kay. Gets into his side inside the 10, and they're taking full advantage of that blunder from the ref.
Oh, Riley Murray out of dummy half like his mate Kay. Just can't get across, though. Not the strength against those middle defenders. We pass it back. Nielsen, straight up and across and high. Right on the line there. Oh, Weary Jones diffuses that despite all the pressure around him. And the Storm, they weather what was one hell of a scare on their line, Liam.
Yeah, that was brilliant stuff from the Storm defensively. Uh, Penrith, they took it to them through Willie Kay with that brilliant dummy half dash, and they did well to defuse that bomb. And now they've got a 7-tackle set as Turbo. He's working his way past that 30, and the Storm, they've certainly got an advantage here in this set. They might work it down to even their red zone if they're lucky enough.
As they work down the blind, here's Tonga up the tram tracks. They're over the 40 on their third, not making as many meters as they probably want. That's Turbo. Finally gets up into the Penrith half for their 40. Doonan replacing Corcoran off the bench today. Corcoran had an absolute blinder in the first half. He'll be coming on, hopefully, a little bit later. Passing back to Galaxy as he boots it all the way down. And here comes Tua. Comes up and around and is brought down desperately by some defense. It's got 27 minutes left in the half. And, well, the Panthers, they're holding the Storm out. But the question is, Liam, how much longer are they able to weather this onslaught?
Oh, I think that, yeah, the Storm, they're really doing well to weather this Penrith attack. And, yeah, they're just doing well defensively. And Penrith, they're struggling to make meters now, as we are saying, as might have to look to a 40-20 as no, they'll just take it up with Nielsen on this last.
Yeah, I think it looked like that. Well, there we go. They caught the ball on the 20 and they made it to the 30. So it said 29 meters gained. Unfortunately, yeah, that was probably the worst set of the night the Panthers had in the Storm. Well, they've got 6 tackles almost in the red zone as Galaxy. Oh, that was a risky pass to Tama as Tama gets 15 meters out for his second. They keep coming this way. Sanchez back on the inside to Metcalf. Metcalf gets up to the 10 for his third. They're taking it fairly easy up the guts here. The Storm as Tonga takes a bit of a settler. Some good post-contact meters to be brought down 1 meter shy. Fourth tackle. Jack White tries to barge over with his strength, but they're going to have to kick now. And, well, they're not going to give it to White because he's playing the ball. Here comes Galaxy. He boots it, and Tama is over. Although he almost took himself straight over the dead ball line there, Liam.
Well, that's what they might be checking. The referee seems to think he might have put on that dead ball. No, it's looking clean there. Maybe the grounding, but the feet do come under Tama there. And yeah, it's maybe an 8-point try he's looking at here. But yeah, that should come up green lights. And we see the green lights there. And Tama, it's brilliant work from him. And to get that grubber and score a try there for his side as he's making it look at a 12, looking to make it a 12-point lead here for the Storm.
Yep, and if this goes over, as we'll pause reverently just to make sure we don't jinx it. As it goes over, that's 18 points to 6, and that is an 18-point turnaround against this Panthers outfit, which, again, I need to remind everyone, they were the first to score in the first 5 minutes, Liam.
Yeah, they certainly were, and the Panthers, I think that as the game's gone on and the Storm have really heated up, as we looked at, I think you'll look back to that first maybe 20 minutes after they scored, they had their opportunities and they just didn't take them, and that might have been the turning point, because if they took a couple of their opportunities, it might be 18-all right now, and they'd have a bit more of a chance.
As Tonga plays the ball. Galaxy, lovely pass to Tiri, linking up to get up over the 30 for his third. The Panthers, it looks like they've been revved up by TBK once more, and they are trying to keep the Storm in their 40. Although that is danger signs because they have got one hell of a boot, a couple of hell of a boots, a couple of 40-20s going off as Galaxy tries for another one. doesn't quite have the length or the angle, however, and Riley Murray saves it and brings it back. So we've got about 20 minutes left in the half. We've got 2 minutes until some prop interchanges come on. As Turner gets up and around, that's a good run there from Turner. What do the Panthers need to try to shave some of these points off this second half deficit, Liam?
Look, I think they just need to give it to their stars, give it to Riley Murray. He's looked the most likely in this one. And Willie Kay, he's been brilliant in these last couple of sets with his running game. And I think they just need to trust that their big stars can get it done here and just feed it to them. TBK and Nepo Goat, I think he's got, another 6 minutes before he comes off. Just give it to him. And so we see Nepo Goat take a kick. And I'm not sure that was what I meant. But yeah, they're certainly looking to get their stars involved.
As Jack White palms off one and almost gets up over the 15, but he's put down there 40 metres out. Jack White, it looks like he'll be spending the full 80 out on the field tonight, and the big man is still running rings, especially around a Panthers team that is doing that out there, Liam.
Yeah, definitely. Captain White, he's been certainly solid here tonight, and he's just a constant contributor, isn't he? Every week he's so consistent, and yeah, it's certainly why the Storm, I think, another reason why they're so incredible in this league. And as we see, White take another run inside the Penrith half as they're down to the 30.
And with how the Storm are going this season and with how Jack White is going, he is definitely putting his name in the ring there for State of Origin selection towards the end of the season. Speak of the devil, that was another one he had. Galaxy off to Sanchez. Sanchez, who is looking exhausted, gets up to the 20. Doonan out of dummy half. Palms off one, can't get around the other, but that's a good run out of dummy. Bang it 5 short. Here we go, the Storm. Do they give it back to Galaxy? Metcalf to Galaxy. Galaxy puts it high as a couple of props run on the field. But Turner comes down with it nicely and, well, they can't get away. The Panthers, again, they're going to be struggling out of their 10 here as McKinnon touches the ball and gets up at least to the 10. We've got some props running on for the Panthers. Is that what they need to try to muscle their way up the field, Liam?
Yeah, I think they just need some fresh legs on the field. I think it might help them just around the middle, getting those fresh legs. It could be vital in this one. I believe they've got the fresh legs of. Is it? They should have Jimmy. No, they have Preston Bates and Phoenix Murphy coming onto the field. As Phoenix Murphy should inject some speed back into this game, and as we look down to the Storm, I think they should have. Is it Corcoran and Malika Sully coming back on?
I think so, yeah. And considering how damaging Corcoran was in the first half, that is warning signs here for the Panthers. As for the Storm, they're just now getting over their 40. Jack White, again, taking another good run, almost to the 50 there for his third. Bit of a slow play of the ball, but we keep going as Aka tank. A bit quiet tonight, Aka, but he hasn't really needed to stand up because almost the rest of the Storm team have been firing, Liam.
Yeah, definitely. When you have the likes of Lockyer and Captain White and, Ryan Nolt played a solid effort in that first half at left back row, and Tom has obviously had a decent second half. It's just been constant contributors, and when someone doesn't stand up for this Storm outfit, you see someone else immediately step up in their absence.
As Turner takes another good run, gets up over the 30. Trying to use the length of the field, but no, they're just taking those one-up hits because, well, they need to preserve some strength for that final push for the final 15. Tua, another good run up the side, although Tama stops him dead in his tracks back on the 40. There is no fullback at home, Panthers. Now's your chance as Nilsson tries to link up with McKinnon. McKinnon is met by some hefty defense once more. The Panthers, you can't say they're not trying, but they're just hitting one hell of a wall in the Storm. And every time they kick it down to Tama, well, he makes a bit of a run just like he has right now. He is off and down, and he is about to hit his first hattie in a couple of weeks, and that is probably it for the game tonight, Liam.
Yeah, definitely. Tama Turbo gets his second of the night. That's just brilliant stuff from him. He'd been looking likely every single time he's got one of those kick returns, and I think that illustrates why you do not kick it down to Tama Turbo, because it might not be the first time, it might not be the second time, but eventually he will make you pay. And we just saw that then, and he's been inserting himself between those Penrith defenders all night and trying to find a hole in there, and he certainly found one there.
Well, that brings the points up to 24-6. And whilst they might have struggled against the Tigers last week, I think that probably says a bit more about the resilience of the Tigers than it does about the Storm, Liam.
Yeah, it probably does. It was probably just an off day for the Storm last week. As someone that commentated that game, they were certainly not at their greatest last week, but yeah, they just lived to fight another day. And I'm sure Captain White just said, forget about that outing last week and move on to the next one. And they've certainly done that here tonight. And unless something crazy happens in this last 12 minutes, they'll come out victors.
As Turbo pushed back, which I'm not surprised considering how hard he's been running tonight, playing at 26 meters out. Some dodgy play at the ruck there as White launches in to save the Storm set. Metcalf linking up back to Galaxy. Galaxy gets up to the 40. They might try to dink a 40-20 here, but it won't be from Galaxy's boot. It's from Metcalf's boot. That's a lovely kick. As long as Riley Murray doesn't stream off down the field. He doesn't, and he comes back 35 meters out. There's not really much more to talk about except to start talking about who these teams are up next week. And, oh lordy, Liam, I would not like to be versing the Storm next week.
It's certainly definitely not the Broncos next week. Yeah, but the Broncos, they play the Storm at home next week for the Bronx, and I'm certainly worried at what the Storm can do. But yeah, the Storm, they've certainly shown inconsistency, and I'm hoping that we get the outfit that was playing last week and not this week, because they have certainly been great in this second half. And as we look at the Panthers, they play the Knights next week, which is another tough game for them, as the Knights are in pristine form at the moment, and they'll certainly struggle to get a win there too.
Yeah, the Knights, they are. I'm not going to say they surprised anyone, but I think a lot of people around the league are very happy with how the Knights are going, because it's good to see some teams up there that aren't your stereotypical teams in your top four. So at the moment, at the beginning of this round, top four was Rabbitohs up the top, well out in front with 14 points, followed by the Storm, the Knights, and the Warriors. So if nothing else, this SRL 2.0 has been one exciting competition so far, Liam.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's really close, particularly at that bottom of the eight. I think there's a lot of sides on that 10 point. Well, there's four sides, I believe, on that 10 point mark, and then there's probably is it five or six on that 8 point mark, and yeah, it just proves how close the SRL is this season, and it's certainly what you live for.
As Beats plays the ball. They're trying to go down the blind side, and the Panthers, well, a couple of really good runs up the field has got them within attacking position to ruin some bets, as Mobberston gets up 15 meters out, fourth tackle. They got 7 minutes left, so they're probably not going to win, unfortunately, Panthers fans, but they can definitely play for and against, and no, that's not what you do, and you definitely don't let Tank run off up the field. If a prop can outrun the rest of your team, that's more than just a little bit embarrassing there for the Panthers, Liam.
Yeah, definitely. They did well to tackle him, though. You certainly didn't want Akatank running 100 meters to score there. As we see Tonga take a solid run. He's been solid in this second half since moving to that left back row position, as he always does. We see, oh, that's not good from the Storm. That was more reminiscent of what we saw last week.
Yeah, it looks like, well, the Storm, it looks like their fatigue is slowly setting back in, which is good considering it's their final 6 minutes and they are 18 points in front. Unfortunately, the Panthers, they were definitely in this match at halftime. It was just a bit of a switch off in that third quarter that really kind of set them up for what has happened. So, again, moving into the next week and their battles against the Knights, what sort of discussions do the Panthers need to make or need to have, Liam?
Oh, look, I think it's not going to be anything too deep for the Panthers. I think they played really well last week, obviously. Oh, it was a six again there, and Panthers will have another great opportunity inside with six more tackles. And yeah, but I think that the discussions won't be anything too deep because there's not too much you can change if you're TBK. Obviously, the new captain at this Penrith side is the lineup. It's pretty set in stone. You can't really change too much because the personnel you've got on these teams, it's really not that flexible. And I think that it's more of an off-season change thing where TBK is going to be able to work his magic on this roster and hopefully able to deliver this what this Penrith side's looking for.
Alternatively, TBK's got the keys to the clubhouse at the moment. Maybe a sneaky little trade is in order, considering, well, we saw a trade between your team Broncos and the Sharks last week, and who knows, that might be something that the Panthers need to look at.
Yeah, definitely. It's certainly something they could look at as they're on the line here. It's very close. Oh, they seem to be taking these dummy half runs as they're so close to the line through Riley Murray. Yeah, but the trade, I certainly wouldn't be against it. There's no reason not to throw caution to the wind as we see an error there. What's this ref looking at? I thought he couldn't knock on.
Oh, we've got a captain's challenge here, and that'll work well. We've got a couple of people out in SRL Betland, hoping that we've got a couple of captain challenges this week. But that is clear and away an easy knock on. That was a Hail Mary try from Captain TBK. I don't blame them though. With 3 minutes left, they'd kind of want just one more consolation try before they go home tonight, Liam.
Yeah, definitely. I think that they just want to be able to put it back to 12 points because what they're for and against is at +6 at the minute. I think they'll take being at -6 after the round. You wouldn't take that being sitting in 11th at the moment. Yeah, you'd certainly not be too displeased by that result if you were at -6 after a loss to the Storm.
As Galaxy goes for another 40-20. He has kicked beautifully, but he just doesn't have the length of that one. As Riley Murray tries what he can to pirouette through and come up to the 40. So the Panthers, this will probably be their last attacking set of the half. They might get into an attacking position at the end, especially if they're going to run up the guts there with their back line. And plenty of six agains here, so they might sneak one in at the end of here, and the Panthers fans will definitely love that. As Murphy 45 metres out for their first. Mobiston running straight back into the markers. Second tackle over the 40. They come wide. They're just doing one-up stuff as Murphy bumps off 2-3, knocks it on, and, well, hasn't that summed up how the night's gone for the Panthers, Liam?
Yeah, it definitely has. The big shots have proven costly here tonight for the Panthers. They're just getting absolutely laid out, and it seems a bit personal at times for the Storm as they're just laying these big forwards out, and they're certainly regretting running at them. The Panthers.
As the Storm, they're just slowly working their way up the field with 15 seconds left. They'll get one more play the ball. Not time for really a kick with 5 seconds left on the cards. And, of course, it's Akatank to put it down for a roaring crowd against that hooter. 24 points to 6. The Storm win at home against what was a real strong Panthers side, at least for about 40 minutes of the game. There is some stats on the board, and I'll get Liam to run through some very different stats compared to our halftime stats there.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously we've got the possession at 51, played 49, favouring that Storm side. That's the Storm. They're actually behind on possession at halftime. It really swung that way for the Storm in the second half. As they're 23 out of 28 compared to the Panthers 17 out of 23. And yeah, the Panthers, they just went on to make more errors in that second half. 4 errors, played 2 in that second half for the Panthers. Penalties conceded, there was only the one conceded all night, which is actually a reasonable discipline for both sides. One penalty conceded from the Panthers. Tackling wise, it didn't change too much. The Storm had 11 more tackles in the total for that game, and they had 18 more at halftime. No, 19 more at halftime. So 32 missed tackles. They made 12 in that second half. It's a better result from Jack White. I think he really changed that up at halftime and really had a point to prove about that. and 28 missed tackles for the Panthers. So they made 18 missed tackles in that second half. And yeah, that's pretty similar to Storm's first half. They'll certainly be looking at that as one of the metrics they need to change next week. Looking at line breaks, though, the Storm, they still really struggled to break the line. They only made 7 line breaks in that second half, despite really going on with this one, and 20 line breaks in total for the Panthers. So they had 9 line breaks in this second half and beat the Storm on line breaks, which is really interesting. And meterage, though, it's not surprising to see the Storm well over 150 meters more at 1,114 meters played, 951 there, Matt.
No, as we move on to some individual stats there from the Storm. And again, we'll advise people at home just to take these with a little bit of grain of salt, because the stats have been just a little bit screwy here and there. But what we're looking at so far is pretty indicative of how the Storm went so far tonight, with Tonga 114, 20 tackles and a couple of decent runs there. Nolt hasn't had 112 at half time and has 112 at full time. So a pretty decent stat there if you ignore 40 minutes of it. Captain White, 99 run meters, but we won't worry about that because 34 tackles. He might not have been attacking as much as some of the other players out there on the field, Liam, but he definitely led in defence tonight.
Yeah, he certainly did. He had the try assist as well, so he had an all-round performance here tonight, as did the captain. Luke Metcalf, he was decent tonight, 122 run meters. He had 203 kick meters off 6 kicks and a try assist. He was solid, I thought. Scrolling down, we look at Galaxy, 154 meters gained, and he had 345 kick meters and a try assist. I thought he was really solid again. This Storm's halves outfit was extremely good. I thought, as we see Tama Turbo, I'm not sure if that's accurate, AMAC. 502 meters. He was good, maybe not that good.
No, considering he had 69 run meters in the first half, I don't think he ran for about 400 odd run meters in the second half. But he's probably in chat right now screaming at us saying that's exactly what he did, and we'll let the viewers at home decide. As we move on to the Panthers, who had some decent halftime stats that have had some slight improvements. But, well, I'll let you run down these first for us tonight, Liam.
Yeah, thanks, AMAC. Chris Wakabayashi, he had a solid night again tonight. He was pretty good last week in their win. 139 run meters here tonight. 11 tackles, none missed. Pretty good for a half. 139 kick meters with a boot off 4 kicks. It's solid. Nothing special though. A try assist and made the 2 errors, but I think he was really solid and set up that Riley Murray try, so he can hold his head high. Scrolling down, we see Kahu, 114 meters. It's solid-ish, but he'd be looking for more, I'd say. Maybe some more ball out from Willie K. As we keep looking down, Lecky, 210 meters is all right. On the wing, 144 meters for Kane Nielsen. At number 7, he was pretty good, I thought. 267 kick meters off 8 kicks. The 3 errors, though, is really where you fold him, though, because you don't want to be giving that field position to the Storm like he did all night. And yeah, Riley Murray, I think he slowed it down in the second half, didn't he, AMAC? 155 running meters. He had about 118 at half time. So the Storm, they really held him in check.
Yeah, and well, when your fullback's making 15 tackles and unmissed, there's no surprise there, considering how tired he must have been out there. Willie K down here, 132, 37 tackles. He's been an absolute powerhouse defensively over the last couple of weeks. You would kind of be worried at what the points might be like if he wasn't out there in the middle defending up the guts there, Liam.
Yeah, definitely. I think that he was certainly really solid there tonight. Probably the Penrith Panthers' best player here tonight, and the stats certainly show it with those tackles. That is an insane effort from him. As looking down, I don't think there's anything more there, AMAC, is there?
No, and so that's probably it for us tonight here at Amy Park. The Melbourne Storm coming away 24 points to 6 victors against the Penrith Panthers. I've been AMAC in the box here with Liam Ryan. Enjoy the rest of your night.